Good afternoon, everybody. Here are the three warm-up problems we did. We did these in class. The main thing was for a problem similar to when we have two proportions. We do our diagonal multiplication or cross multiplication. So in the end, we have 4 times 2x minus 3. We have to keep it in parentheses. That's set equal to 5 times the 3x plus 6. Again, set 3x plus 6 in parentheses. Here is our distribution step in both cases. Some of you just skipped. That's okay. So we have 15x plus 30 equals 8x minus 12. Of course, subtract 8x on both sides. That was your first step. Then you could subtract 30 on both sides. So we wound up with 7x is equal to negative 42. Divide both sides by 7. The result is negative 6. We talked about some properties, and that's also placed on your review. You do have properties, problems that will be a part of your test. In this problem, we need to solve for y. Step 1, subtract 4x on both sides, because in the end, you are going to highlight what we are trying to isolate. Trying to get that y by itself. So we first subtract 4x on both sides, and then we divide both sides by negative 5. Now you do have to split your numerator into 2 smaller numerators, and you have to divide each numerator by negative 5. And for the one case, we actually wound up with an integer of negative 7. But for the other case, we have negative 4x divided by negative 5, which in the end becomes positive 4x over 5. So one of us thought, oh, we could leave it as negative, negative. But negative divided by a negative, in the end, your result is positive. Next page. Oops, too far. Oh, way too far. Hold on. Okay, next page. This is when we talk about whether or not if we have true or false statements. True statements, same coefficient, same constant. That's after you do your distribution or your simplifying. And you have a false statement, no solutions for x if you have the same coefficient but different constants. That's case in point, what I circled in the blue. Same coefficient, which is at positive 3, but different coefficients. Negative 7 versus positive 6. Whereas problem on the left, same coefficients and same constants. Number 5. This is all about inequalities. Some of us were not sure about set builder interval, whether or not if you would use a parentheses versus a bracket, and whether or not you have a positive or negative infinity. Now, set builder notation always has the braces. Your variable comes first, then you have a solid vertical line, then you use your algebraic inequality. Now for interval, if your arrow goes to the right, you're always going to have the second part's going to become a positive infinity with a parentheses. Close parentheses more specifically. Interval notation. Again, look at your point. If it's an open circle, it's parentheses. It's closed circle, bracket. Notice the difference. And in fact, we should. I will do that. I will also add your brackets. So closed circle, it's going to be a bracket. Open circle, parentheses. Whoops. I got a little too carried away. And then these are some problems that we did again. Variable has to be on the left. So these 4 variables already on the left. Open circle since it's a less than or greater than. Closed circle if it's a less than, equal to, greater than, or equal to. Set builder notation. Again, use the variable given to you. Don't forget your braces. Solid line going vertically up and down. Use your algebraic expression. And then you set up your interval. Arrow to the left. It'll be parentheses, negative infinity. Arrow to the right. So when you close your parentheses, you will have an infinity on the right side. Then if it's a less than, of course, then your value is the second value, and it's, in this case, since it's a strict less than, parentheses. Here, r is greater than 2. So 2, the lowest, will be on your left, and then the highest will be on the right, which in this case will be infinity. 3, somewhat a 1, but now we have a less than or equal to sign. So you still have negative infinity on the left side of your interval notation, but your right side has a bracket. Now for z greater than or equal to -4. Again, solid circle, arrow to the right. Solid circle means bracket. Since we're going to the right, infinity will be on the right part of your interval notation. And then your starting point, -4, is on the left side. For 5 and 6, we switched the direction. We placed the variable first, but then you have to switch direction of the inequality before you place your number. Similarly, 6, switch your inequality, and then you set up your graph, set builder notation, and then since the arrow is to the left, you have a negative infinity, comma 5, that's our starting point. And for greater than or equal to, you have a bracket. Starting point, -3, comma, positive infinity is your end, close parentheses. We did these problems in class, well, these first 4. This problem we did as well. I'm really not going to go over it since this was already done in class. Thank you to one of your classmates. Number 2, you set up ratio of a number x and 4. So that's x divided by 4. It's going to be increased by 12. Is equal to -3. Two-step equation. The key is getting here. Given this information, that determines how we get here. So since it's a ratio, a number in 4, you don't put the whole thing x plus 12 over 4. It's just the x by itself being divided by 4. Then we add 12. So first step, subtract 12 from both sides. X divided by 4 equals -15. Then we multiply both sides by 4. That's in the end. 4's cancel. And we're left with -15 times 4, which is -60. That's our value for x. Number 3, we did this one together. Set up your average by summing all your quiz values or test values. And divide by the number of quizzes or tests. And then it will be less than or equal to, or in this case, greater than or equal. In this case, it's greater than or equal to 90. And we can make 90 over 1. And guess what? We have a proportion. We cross multiply. So basically 4 times 90. That's how we get to 360. And then 86 plus 93 plus 87. Add these together. That's how you get your 266. And now we're just down to a one-step equation, inequality. Subtract 266 from both sides. Voila. X is greater than or equal to 94. This problem, set up 850 plus 125 per topping That is, I'm going to highlight that part. So this large pizza, $8.50 plus $125 a topping. So now we want to spend at most $13.75. So the at most is less than or equal to. Oops, I did not need to highlight that negative sign. At most means less than or equal to. So now we do our subtraction, $8.50 on both sides. And we divide $5.25 by 125. And you have a T of 4.2. Now, can we have 4.2 toppings? No. So we just ran down to 4. Because if you go above 4, you will have too many toppings and you will be paying more than $13.75. Seven, number 1 we went over together. Number 2, again, do your distribution first and set it up where all your variables on one side, constants on the other. In this case, we're moving the 8x to the other side, and then we add 42 to both sides. Last but not least, divide by 20. 3, distribute first. Again, remember to distribute, do your multiplications of both terms inside parentheses. And then similarly, negative 3x, we add positive 3x to both sides. That'll get rid of those terms. And then, of course, add 4 and divide by 5. Now for number 4, add 5x. And we subtract 27. And then divide both sides by positive 15. So it's negative 2 less than or equal to x, or x is greater than negative 2. Here, we did not have to do any switching here of the inequality. 5 and 6. 5 is just like 4. 6 is just like a problem we did earlier. So I'm not going to go too much into detail. And these problems we did in class. Oops, I went the wrong way. Number 8 might have been a little tricky. So 1/4 a number. That's where we get the 1/4 in. Increased by 9. Again, here is highlight, highlight, and the result is -1. The result is -1 is right here. Now we subtract 9 from both sides. Again, watch your integer operations. -1 plus -9 is -10. And then what we do is we will, after that, multiply both sides, not just one, but both sides by positive 4. Is what will happen. These 4's cancel. Left with just a plain old n. -10 times 4, -40. 2 and 3 we went over in class. Main thing is the setup, but once you get to the setup, then get rid of your denominator. So in this case, multiply both sides by 3. Number 3, perimeter. You have to add all your sides. So add all sides. Number 4, again, your setup, 975 plus 0.25t less than or equal to 1150. And we did this one in class. Subtraction, 1150 minus 975, 175, divided by 0.25. Oops, let me put this t equals 7. That's for number 4. Number 5 was similar to one of the earlier problems. Set it up like a sort of proportion from the last data value we don't know. That's why we have to say plus x divided by total number or values or terms you see up here. So if 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it will be 5. That will be our denominator. Oops, sorry about that. Whoa. Sorry about that little malfunction. And again, do your cross multiplication from here to here. So that was a cross multiplication. And then don't forget to add these 4 numbers. Add them together. You get this result. So then 363 plus x is greater than or equal to 460. Subtract by 363, and you have x is greater than or equal to 97. Number 6, you set up 16 plus 50 cents times c. It's greater than or equal to 38. Subtract 16 on both sides. 0.50 c is greater than or equal to 22. Divide both sides by 0.50. 44 cups. We did number page 3 of the study guide. We did all of these already, so I'm not going to review those. We did them in class. And then 13 and 14 we did in class. 15, just divide both sides by c squared. 16, similar to 13, after you get your term with the variable, when we do our by itself, and we have to divide both sides by the coefficient. But then don't forget, split each part of your heart and then simplify if you can. So for instance, this part of the problem here, I'm going to highlight 20 divided by 10. That's how we get our 2. Similarly up here, 18 divided by 3. So we get our 6. And of course, negative 6 divided by 3 is negative 2x. Here, positive 3y divided by 10. It's just 3 over 10 times y, or 3y over 10. Last but not least, again, in inequalities, try to get your variables on the left side if you can. If you get them on the right, it is what it is. But then just remember, you have to switch everything. So in this case, we have 14 is less than x, but that's also x is greater than 14. So you graph open circle, x such that x is greater than 14, and then your interval notation, 14, comma, infinity, because the arrow is going to the right. Last problem, subtract 10x on both sides. Divide both sides by negative 2. Remember, switch the direction of the inequality. So switch. Switch from less than to greater than. I'll fix that. There we go. And that is just about it for this review. So we will have the test 2 parts tomorrow. Part 1 tomorrow, and then part 2 Monday. So starting tomorrow will be our test. Okay, as always, email me if you have any questions. All right.